Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. This is Kathy, and I'll be creating another card using the Sweetest birthday cone stamp set from Colorado Craft Company. And I'll also be using the May the Mouse stamp set from Honeybee Stamps so that I could create Cookie Monster ice cream. I started out by inking up the ice cream using cement gray hybrid ink from My Favorite Things, and I used a damp cloth to wipe the ink off of the cherry and the stem because I wanted to top the ice cream cone with chocolate chip cookies instead of a cherry. The cardstock that I'm using is Express It blending card because I'll be coloring with my Copic markers, and again I still had some left over and thought that I might as well use that up. So I stamped 2 chocolate chip cookies up at the top because I'll be cutting those out. And then to make the chocolate chip cookies appear that they're tucked into the ice cream, after I inked it up, I just used that damp cloth and wiped a little bit of the ink off of the bottom of the chocolate chip cookie. To make sure that I didn't overlap onto the cone part, I just used a sticky note as a mask so I could have one extra chocolate chip cookie there just above the cone part. And the final chocolate chip cookie, I kind of didn't wipe enough ink off, but I wasn't too concerned about that because I knew that I was going to fussy cut the image after I was done with the coloring. Now, as far as the coloring goes, I do have the cone part sped up quite a bit because I've already showed how I did it in another video, which I will link to at the end of this video. The colors that I use will pop up on the screen for you. I will also have them listed below in the description as well as over on my blog. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and play some music for you to enjoy while I finish up the coloring of the cone, and then I'll be back to go over how I colored in the ice cream. For the ice cream, I started out with my lightest color to map out where the shading would be. And I also traced around the chocolate chip cookies to make sure that I didn't get a little bit overzealous with the darker colors. And I know I've said it before, but the way this image is drawn makes it really easy to see exactly where the shadows would be, like where the ice cream would be squished down into the cone. After I had the shadows mapped out, I came in with my darkest color, which is B06. I pretty much just went over the lines that I had done with the B02 and flicked them out just a tiny little bit. And as I moved through the blue markers that I used, I made sure to leave some white space until I got all the way back to the B02s. So when I blended it all out, I would have some really nice highlights. While I was Googling images of Cookie Monster ice cream, some of the images looked like they had Oreo cookies, and some of the images looked like they had chocolate chips. So for my ice cream cone, I decided to add in some chocolate chips. I just used a really dark brown marker and drew kind of wonky, square-ish rectangle shapes like I did for the mint chocolate chip ice cream. And because the color was so dark, I was able to just color right over that blue. For the chocolate chip cookies, I just used a couple of light browns, and I did put the darker colors like at the bottom of the cookie where it was tucked into the ice cream. And for the two cookies up at the top, I just colored them and added in a little bit of shading. Since I used the gray ink, it really kind of hid some of the chocolate chips that were part of the cookie, and you'll see that it's really easy just to add in your own chocolate chips if you can't see them, because literally I just did a dark brown dot. For the whipped cream, I just used two colors and used the darker of the two to add in where the shadows would be, then blended that out with the lightest, and then blended it all out with my colorless blender. After I'd finished all of the coloring, I cut out the ice cream cone and the two cookies, and I had also adhered a piece of patterned paper from Pink and Main Celebrate 6x6 pack to a piece of blue cardstock, and adhered that to a piece of white cardstock. The finished card is 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, so the front panel with the patterned paper is cut slightly smaller than that. Here I kind of played around with where I wanted to have those two chocolate chip cookies go, and just used my tape runner to hold those in place. Next, I covered the back of the ice cream cone with a whole bunch of foam tape, removed the release paper from the foam tape, and attached it to the front of the card. And that finishes up my card for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've not yet subscribed, I'd love it if you would, and don't forget to hit the bell so you're notified every time a new video is posted. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.